welcome Voyagers. Today we're going to be making a double pleated multicolored skirt. So I just went to my local thrift store and I thrifted a set. I actually was lucky enough to find a dress and blazer set that was a few sizes bigger than what I usually wear so I could have a little bit more fabric for the skirt, and I just so happened to like the way that this fit on me. So we're actually not going to touch this so much and we are going to work fully with the dress. I already took apart the dress, seam ripping everything, so I have just flat panels of fabric. And I already made my pattern, and I may take other parts of the dress to add some hem on it. This pattern will allow for a double pleated 25-inch skirt in length, as well as a 25.5-inch waist. And I can show you how I made my pattern. It's a bit confusing, but I could also upload it if people aren't that interested in this. So let's get started. You're gonna need to understand your waist measurement and where you want it to land. So this is a sort of visual representation. These are my outside fabric, and then they're each folding in on this fabric. So it's a double pleat because this one's folding into this side and this one's folding into this side. This is how I did my pattern pieces, a little bit all over the place, but basically what you want to do is figure out how many pleats you wanted. So I wanted 6 pleats in my skirt. That's a little 7, and having the zipper open up to a pleat as well. Then from there, we're gonna have this squiggle marks is my outer layered fabric that's pleating over the inner layer fabric. That's the solid marks there. So what I know is that I need these top outer layers to equal my waist measurement, meaning each one, this is allowing with seam allowance, it would be 6.3 about to get to 25.5, but we're gonna make it 6.5 just to add room. That's giving us quite a bit of seam allowance, but that's okay. And so for the outer layer, I actually am doing a sort of triangular-ish shape for my pattern piece because I want those to flare out a little bit more than I want the inner layer to be able to be shown. Something to note, you obviously need the same amount of each panel cut out. So if you're cutting out 5 of the top panel, you need 5 of the bottom panel. And that is exactly what we did in this video. I know it says 4, so it's a little bit confusing, but we did 5 of each panel at the end of the day. And then it's just gonna be a regular rectangle with the same measurement, 6.5, 6.5. For your inner layer. I hope that wasn't too confusing. However, it will come together a little bit easier when we see it in action. This is just a reminder that you use everything. So I'm using the zipper, taking it off, putting it back on the skirt. We will be using that lining as well. We're going ahead now and putting our pattern pieces on our fabric and cutting out for the outer layer. So we are using the wider panel piece. And I ran into a bit of an issue here. So you could see that my pattern piece just hits that hemline of my fabric that I had from the dress. I ended up still being able to have the length that I wanted, which was great. You'll see how we did that later. Now we're going in with the thinner panel for our under layer fabric. And this, I just used the black satin fabric. So everything is cut out. For the extra hem piece, you can ignore this step. Just make your fabric longer or as long as you want it to be. I want mine to be longer, but I had to work around the garments that I was working with because they already had seams in it. Obviously, if you're using plain fabric, you're not gonna have that issue, so you guys can ignore this step. I'm just gonna add it to the length of these pieces. So once I added these onto these, this is really all you'll have on your end. We're gonna sew them, alternating patterns together, and we'll go from there. So it's just gonna go every other, and then you're gonna stitch each one together, having all your seams be on one side and all the finished seams be on the other. I went and stitched everything together. You can see that this side is the crazy side. I'm gonna go back in and clean up my seams. This is me using every last scrap. I really had to make things work here for this last panel, but we got it. And this is our 5th panel of our top pleating fabric. So you can see that hemline where I added that fabric. The top and bottom hems are really off from each other because I had to really focus on getting those perfect. And you're just gonna fold this over, fold this over, fold this over, and you can kind of see the skirt start to come together. And I went in and I actually stitched a top stitch along the 2 seams. But something I've noticed that I don't like as it comes and falls together, I don't like how this fabric sort of buckled underneath my machine. So what I'm going to do to just fix that problem, I'm going to fold it under, and I'm going to do another top stitch here. And that will sort of also naturally make this fabric sort of go underneath when it's falling, and keep this on top. I'm just showing you here how I folded over the fabric. It's really simple, and you just want to mark your halfway point so that you're bringing both panels to the halfway point of the underneath panel to make sure everything's in line, and then you just do that for every single one. It's super easy to stitch on your machine. You go straight down, you turn your fabric, you stitch across it. This also enhances the strength of your pleat, and go back up. And lucky for me, the waist of the dress actually worked perfectly for the waist of the skirt, so I just did a top stitch for that. Colored skirt. There's Matthew. Oh, Matthew loves the garbage.
Thank you.